Let me tell you the crazy story of how Switzerland made the most bizarre-looking camouflage pattern in military history. And it actually worked.
I got 100 on my dash, got 200 in my trunk. Name in the grab bags, put my Bible in the trunk. Like a rocker on the top of my binocular, I'm drunk. I can make them popular, pop 'em when I want.
Alpenflage, a camo pattern so colorful that when Americans first saw it, they called it pizza camo. This thing has 6 colors, including red. You know, the color that's typically associated with a bullseye or a target you're supposed to shoot at. The bigwigs of the Swiss army decided this was the perfect color to cover their troops in from head to toe. It's basically the opposite of what you'd think you'd want in a camo pattern, and yet it served the Swiss military for decades. That's longer than most modern camos have been around. So where did this pattern come from? Back in February 1945, Nazi Germany was collapsing. The war was basically over, but German engineers were still in their labs tinkering away at the next big thing. Enter Leibermuster, the last camouflage pattern developed by Germany during World War II. It was designed by a guy named Helmut Leiber, and it was actually cutting-edge technology that surprisingly came from a failing military. Most camouflage of the time utilized repeating patterns that covered an entire uniform, but what Helmut Leiber and his cronies cooked up in the lab was a new roller printing technique which used different diameter rollers so patterns wouldn't repeat exactly. But here's the wild part. Leibermuster was also designed to counter early night vision devices. That's right, in 1945 they were already thinking about infrared, a technology that was being developed as early as 1939 and had been integrated into some German tanks in 1944. So how did Switzerland get it? Through Czechoslovakia. After the war ended, Switzerland acquired either the actual Leibermuster pattern or the original German roller printing machines from Czechoslovakia, which had been a major German war industry hub during their occupation. Switzerland saw what those Germans were cooking up, and they not only wanted a taste, they wanted the recipe for themselves. So Switzerland had this captured German camo technology, but it would be over a decade before they actually deployed it. What were they doing in the meantime? Science, bitch!
Yes, science!
Swiss scientists were up in the Alps with color charts, probably saying things like, ah yes, the lichen is indeed very red, or what if we try something crazy? Switzerland officially adopted Alpenflage in 1957 as TAS 57 or Tarnanzug 57, which translates to Combat Uniform Model 1957. Although there are reports of it showing up in field use as early as 1955, so they were clearly testing it before making it official. If you're wondering why Switzerland, a neutral country, needs crazy advanced camo, you're asking the right questions. Here's the thing. Being neutral doesn't mean being unprepared. Swiss General Henri Guisan had established a military doctrine called the National Redoubt Strategy, where in the event of an invasion, a series of fortified positions within the Alps would make fighting them so annoying that the invaders would have to just give up and go home. This meant their conscript army needed camo that worked in Swiss terrain specifically. Not German forests, not French countryside, Swiss Alps. The environments had such varying kinds of vegetation at vastly different elevations, they needed something completely different from conventional camos of the time. So why red? Red in camouflage on the surface sounds like one of the dumbest ideas a scientist has ever thought of, but hear me out. At a distance, red actually blends into the natural environment because of how atmospheric scattering, human color perception, and other weird science terms that I don't fully understand work. Plus, the Swiss landscape has things like red lichen all over the alpine rocks, autumn beech and larch foliage creating red and brown forest floors, and red brick buildings everywhere. This pattern was particularly effective during autumn and winter when the red-brown leaves accumulated everywhere. Also, if your guys wear red, then the bad guys can't tell if they made you bleed. It's the same reason I often wear brown pants. So yeah, the Swiss took the conventional wisdom adopted by militaries around the world, threw it out, then slapped one of the most noticeable colors in their camo, and it stuck. Red isn't the only color in Alpenflage, it's just the reason it's so noticeable. The colors that surround it are also what make it so distinct. While other camo patterns usually get by with 3 or 4 colors, the Swiss decided to throw a total of 6 in there. Tan or sand colors make up the base, throw in some random flecks of white throughout because why not? Sprinkle some light green in the body layer, and finally overprint some red, reddish browns, and black in the shapes of leaves and branches, and you've got yourself Alpenflage. These uniforms were also designed with storage in mind. Insane amounts of storage, actually. Vintage films from 1961 show fellas stuffing their pockets with bags of bread, magazines, and they stuffed 2 stick grenades into one pocket. From pockets alone, you could feed a family of 6 from the snack crumbs you collect, or single-handedly supply the beer when you tailgate a sporting event. The pattern remained in service for nearly 4 decades before being phased out in the 90s. Despite its long service record, it really saw no combat operations due to Switzerland's position of neutrality. It was intended as a defensive pattern, and by the time Swiss peacekeeping deployments to Bosnia and Kosovo began in the mid to late 90s, the new 4-color pattern of the TAS 90 had replaced it. Though it was no longer an active service camo, Alpenflage saw renewed life after its replacement. Alpenflage began to see adoption with civilians through the military surplus market, becoming valuable for both its fashionable appearance stemming from its unique coloring as well as its high-quality build, making it perfect for outdoor enthusiasts, hunters, fishers, or moonshiners deep in Appalachia. And if you like, comment, subscribe, and visit AmericanaPipedream.com, you can get some Alpenflage for yourself.